On today's Newsmakers, actor Neal McDonough is here to talk about his new movie, Guns and Moses, his stand for faith in Hollywood, and more. With no further ado, here is Neal McDonough. When you look at this particular film, Guns and Moses, and you think about defending the vulnerable, because what you're talking about is how we treat people, right? What are some, without giving too much away, what are some of the lessons that the film leaves viewers with? Obviously, people are going to be entertained, right? It's an entertaining film, but there are lessons there when it comes to defending the vulnerable. Talk a little bit about that.
It's the political landscape now that's so hot, and it always has been, really, when you think about it. It's just the beginning of time, because again, man just messes everything up when it comes to faith. And now it's gotten so bad that you look at there are just daily bombs being thrown back and forth each other in the Middle East all the time. And these poor people, whatever side you're on, it's just awful. And it has to stop at some point. I don't know when it's going to stop. I don't know if it can stop, but maybe I'm a corny guy to think that it can stop and that it will stop. And if we make films that make people think about it and stop and think, well, why am I so against a certain thing? Why can't I try to understand more? That's what Guns and Moses really is to me. It makes you think, why do I hate these people? They didn't really do anything to me, but yet my father or my mother might be so racist, and therefore I'm going to become racist. Well, that doesn't make sense. But there has to be a teaching system to help this next generation to not think through hate, but to think through understanding and compassion and love thy neighbor, not hate thy neighbor. And it's films like Guns and Moses that really brings this to the foreground and makes you think about exactly that. How can we be better?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've always lived in a place where the people around me don't generally agree with me on anything, right? So for me, it's always been an exercise of, I believe these things. This is what I believe. I believe this to be true. I may think those other ideas are wrong. I don't agree with them, let's say, but I've loved to hear those ideas, and I love to continue hearing them because it helps me actually refine what I believe and think, right? I learn how to deal with people and love people who are different from me. And I also can then say, oh, like maybe I need to refine what I think, or hey, maybe this actually helps me think through more of my perspective on an issue and really solidifies it more. And it feels like we've lost that ability. We don't even want to do that. We don't even want to be around other people who are different from us. We have no interest in it. And that seems like a very toxic place to be as a society. I'd love for you to maybe reflect on that.
It's really simple. I love chocolate. I don't like chocolate with fruit in it. Orange, raspberry, strawberry. I just don't. Some people really like orange in their chocolate. Does that mean I should punch them in the face? That's as simple as it gets. Why can't I just accept that, okay, you like orange in your chocolate. That's cool. I just like my plain chocolate, or maybe with some peanut butter in there. That's just who I am. I love your opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion, but we can all get along and have a common ground that we both love the chocolate, which is great, but there will be differences in taste. And that's okay. It's okay to have different thoughts. It's okay to be different. That's part of what life is. If we're all the same, boy, it would be really boring. But we are different. One person might think one way, one person might think another, but it doesn't mean you have to have a fight. There should be an acceptance of each other. The world is, we're here for a finite amount of time. If we get 100 years out of this, we're blessed and lucky. Let's fill those 100 years with great thoughts and understanding thoughts instead of hatred, because you certainly don't want to go through life being an angry, hateful type of person. I would much rather go through life being an understanding, compassionate person and feel the love of that and feel God's immense love towards us and give that gift of love towards everyone else. That's what life is supposed to be about, isn't it, Billy? But we mess that all up. And in films like this, we realize, wow, we have really messed a lot of stuff up. How do we get back to just compassion and understanding?
No, I love that. And, last time you and I talked, and a number of times in the past, we've talked about this, obviously your journey in Hollywood, the things you've gone through, the ups and the downs of making decisions that were the right decisions to make, but struggles that have come from that. What would you say to somebody who may be watching or listening right now? What advice would you have if they've actually done the right thing, right? They've taken a moral position, a moral stance. They've done something like what you've done in the past, and they're struggling because there have been consequences to that are negative, and they're kind of in the middle of that. Since you've gone through this, I'd love to kind of get your perspective on how to navigate that.
It's kind of simple. Look, at a young age, I found out a God-given talent that I have. I can't pound a nail. I'm terrible at telling jokes, but man, I can act. And, that is a quote from my wife, Ruve, which is so true. I'm terrible at a lot of stuff. However, I'm really, really, really good at acting. So I had this great career, and then it kind of got taken away from me for a little bit because of my faith and my love of my wife. And that was the most important part. I didn't want to do kissing scenes because I didn't want to put Reve through that kind of stuff because it's just odd. And now I finally get to kiss women on screen in my last movie, The Last Rodeo. And of course, that woman is my wife, Reve. And that movie, again, a film about faith and about family and all those things, is killing it right now on Amazon and Apple TV and all these other outlets that everyone's buying the film. And number 4, I think this week on Apple, number 2 on Fandango and Prime and everything else. So people love these types of films. But for people who've gone through what I went through, you got to keep having your faith. You got to believe that if you have a God-given talent like I have, I know that if I have faith in him, he's going to get me through anything. And I think when I fell through those problems, I made it about me, and I wasn't making it enough about him. And there's a 2-year period where I was just wallowing in self-pity and alcohol and everything else, just trying to get myself through this horrible time in my life. And then finally, when I put the bottle down and I got back to God, I realized, wow, I was really making this all about me, when your life is all supposed to be making about servicing God and giving glory to God in everything you do. And ever since then, for the last 10 years, you look at my career now with all the movies that Reve and I are producing and all the great things that are happening, me being on your show for the 15th time, Bill, whatever it is, you know what I mean? I get to talk about these films that I make because I'm giving glory to him. So did I go through a speed bump that I didn't like? Yes. Was it torture? Yes. Would I do it again? Yeah, I would, because it made me realize who I am and what I'm here for. I'm here to give glory to him through a gift that he has given me, and that's through acting and writing and producing and all these great things that I get to do with my wife, Reve. So if you're having a hard time because of certain things, have faith. Keep working hard at your craft, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a carpenter, whether you're a lawyer, whatever the case is. Keep working hard at your craft and have faith in him and do things for him, and great things will happen.
I love that. I mean, your career has always been incredible. You had that 2-year period. Right now, what you're getting to do is really so interesting, and getting to create in different ways and this really unique, content. And then what you were talking about there, that trust factor, learning how to trust God and leaning in, even when it's difficult, even when you're trying to understand, how did I get here? Why I did the right thing? Why is this happening? It really sounds like you were able to journey through that in a way that now you have advice that I think really could help other people as they journey through it. But I do want to ask you, at the end of the day, when people go to see Guns N' Moses, when they finish the film, not to be redundant here, but I think it's important. What do you want in their hearts? What do you want the big takeaway to be for them?
The big question should be in everyone's hearts. Why am I so against a certain idea? Why do I think my idea is better than anyone else's? And I will hate the other people because of it. And that happens a lot. There's a lot of hatred out there because people think that their team is better than they go to a Red Sox Yankees game. It can be violent when you go to Red Sox. I'm from Boston, so you go to Red. If somebody's wearing a Yankees hat, someone might be wearing a beer by the end of the day at Fenway Park. And instead of kind of understanding each other and loving each other and saying, okay, you're a Yankees fan, that's cool. I'm a Red Sox fan, and I'm rooting for my Red Sox. It's people forget that it's okay to be different. It's okay to have different thoughts. It's okay to be, no one's the same.
That's all for today's Newsmakers. Make sure you head on over to the CBN News YouTube channel and cbnnews.com for more of the news you need to read. We'll see you again tomorrow.